Hey everybody, welcome to American Idol Unaired. I'm your host, Bennett Shear. Usually we are talking to the singers that you didn't see on American Idol, but today we have another aired exception for you, a contestant that you did see on American Idol. You definitely know this one. Please welcome Ava Maybee.
Hey,
How are you?
good. Thank you for having me. I'm stoked.
Thank you for coming on the show. I'm honored. And as I just said, we definitely remember you from American Idol. Top 14 on season 20, and what a wild ride it has been, I'm sure. Just taking us back to before the show, when did you fall in love with music? At the beginning for you of your journey, when was that?
That's a great question. I think I really fell in love with music because my grandfather would pick me up from school when I was like in elementary school. So maybe like five, four or five or six. And he would play a lot of opera in the car. He's a big opera fan. And one day he was playing Andrea Bocelli and I was humming, and I guess it was like on pitch. And he was like, "You're really good." And I was like, "Oh, stop. You're too much." And then he dropped me off at my mom's and was like, "Ava can really sing." And she was like, "Glenn, like, I know you have like one grandchild and like she doesn't need to be a prodigy. Like, she can just be doing it for fun." He was like, "No, she's like really good." And then that was sort of it. Like I always had a knack for melody, and I just like to sing a lot, and I feel like that's where it like kind of came from.
Wow, never would have expected opera, first of all. And what age? I don't remember if you said, but
Opera.
what age was that this happened?
I think I was pretty young. I could sing before I could talk for sure, but I think like my real like tangible love for music probably I would say like 5.
So many experiences over the years that led to that show, whether it's gigging, writing, recording. I mean, I'm sure that when you walked into that room for the first time seeing the judges, it kind of was like, it is all led up to this moment. You're there, but now you're with other musicians. So now it's time to really see, stacking up. Obviously, it's competition. Some people say, oh, well, it's just great to be with other musicians, to be around them. But how are you feeling about being now up against other people who are also doing the same thing as you?
Oh, I mean, I go to school for music, so I was kind of used to it. I mean, not to that degree or level at all, but I love being surrounded by people who are just as driven as me, and way more talented. I think like if you're the most talented person in the room, you're in the wrong room. So I was like just very humbled and blessed to even like be on Idol and be with musicians of that caliber, and also, and I think more importantly, what people don't really understand behind the scenes is like Chris Pooley, who's the musical director for Idol, is like one of the most talented musicians I've ever met. And the band that he creates that is behind us are some of the best session musicians like I will ever meet. I know for a fact. And I just felt that was like the most exciting thing for me being on the entire show was like being able to perform with like the best musicians. Like think about Hollywood Week. They're like 250 kids who are there and they're learning 250 songs like one night. Like that's insane. That's a crazy amount of talent that I like can't even wrap my head around. So it really excited me to be with musicians and people who just love music as much as I do. I'm never really like scared or intimidated by it just because I think that it's like music is a universal language. Like it's so exciting to be with people who think of it in the same way that you do.
It really is mind blowing when you think about, I mean, not just the artists that they've worked with before they come to work with you guys, but Chris Pulley and the band. I mean, you're talking about people who not only work with so many artists at the same time, whether it's Hollywood or even Top 24. That's a lot to learn in a very short amount of time. But just what
Totally.
goes into that show from a TV standpoint and a music standpoint.
Yeah. And there's so much that people just don't see. Like you just expect it because American Idol is incredible and there's like a caliber that they're meeting every single season and trying to beat. But like yeah, it's insane the amount of work. I think it's easy to be like, oh, these kids are like going through so much and it's like they're sleep deprived and whatever. And like, yes, we are 100%. And like, you obviously have moments where you're like, this sucks. But
Yeah.
in the end, like, I don't really feel like people give the musicians behind us like the amount of credit that they deserve because like they're also up until 4 in the morning learning all the
Right.
songs. Like
Yeah.
it's it's ridiculous. It's really I just felt very very lucky to even like play with them. For me,
Yeah.
like that's so dope.
We're talking about hundreds of people, and again, it's a combination of television and music every week. And whether it's producing the auditions, which may be less of a time crunch because it's pre-recorded, but then you go to those live shows where you really have to figure out how are we going to make a 2 hour show. 2 hours might fly by for the viewers, but for the people working on that set, I mean, my gosh, the contestants might have it easy compared to what everybody else is working on.
Yeah, I mean, we get to go off stage and
Yeah,
they're still there. So,
yeah,
yeah, I mean, also too, and that's not, this isn't even like talking about like, I wasn't even at a point, I didn't make it far enough to where I was doing like multiple songs a night, which is like a whole other conversation. But
yeah.
just for the live rounds, we had like upwards of like 5 rehearsals, like on stage, in ears in with the band, like the whole thing. And like vocal sessions and yada yada yada, just to be on stage for like 5 minutes,
Right.
which is crazy. There's so
Yeah,
much that goes into like I'm thinking I was probably on the stage a total of like an hour and I made it to the top 14.
yeah.
Maybe probably less, maybe like 30 minutes.
You're not even performing full songs. It's maybe verse, chorus, maybe a bridge sometimes, but a lot of times they're having to cut stuff down too. So that's another factor.
Yeah, it's crazy. So much goes into it.
Yeah, if we rewind to when the idol journey started for you, it's always way longer before people actually see you on screens. Whether you're just
Right.
talking about filming alone or starting to decide I want to go on this show. What happened? Were you approached? Did you try it yourself?
I was very lucky that someone very close to me and who I'm very, very lucky enough to have on my team is a scout for Idol. And she had been a scout for Idol for a minute, and I knew she was doing it. And I just never felt like Idol was in the cards for me as an artist. I never really thought that I was going to be like on a reality show singing competition type of thing. Like, I go to school at NYU and like I'm a student, and I just was like, I'll just wait and then I'll like figure out what I'm going to do once I'm done with school. And then I think once she told me that you could do original music and that they were much more artist focused than they had been in the past, because I'd only really watched Idol when I was super young. Like I stopped watching after like Philip Phillips season. That was like
Hmm.
Haley Reinhart was like my everything. And then after that, I
Yes.
was like, there's never gonna be another Haley Reinhart. So I'm done. I'm done. And then so I didn't watch it for a minute. And so I was like, if you think that it's gonna be artist friendly, then like I think why not? Like
Yeah.
it's the 20th season. I was 20 at the time. Like it felt very like there was cosmic energy that was going
Yes.
into it, and I felt like it was going to be good. Um, and so yeah, so basically she just told the producers that I wanted to audition. Um, and then I did. And that was it.
Wow. Um, the episode that you aired on was the
Yeah,
episode post Oscars. So it's interesting to
yes,
think
it was.
about. When I heard that they were doing that, I thought pretty cool for the show. I didn't know what to expect numbers wise. I mean, I follow the numbers, and obviously, let's be real here. I mean, TV, any show is not going to get the numbers that Idol did way back in the day. If you follow, then you know that it's for what the show is doing today. It's good. It's successful, but almost 3 million people watched that night. We're talking same day numbers, aired at 1:20 in the morning because people watched the Oscars, had to sit through the news, and then watch Idol. This is before YouTube. This is before people find you on Hulu next day. But if we're just talking about the same day numbers plus all the people that discovered you, you really made a name for yourself early on in the competition, despite being placed in a situation where, if I'm being honest, as a viewer, I'm thinking, would I want to be a contestant who airs on that night? And look what you did with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I it's never a guarantee that you're going to air.
Right,
We were told that very like the producers were very honest and were like, whether you make it in like everyone, I think people in the top 24 who knew that they had made it into the top 24. This was before Hawaii, but like right after Green Mile, they just assumed like, oh, I'm gonna air because I'm like in the competition and like it's
right.
gonna be live. But that there were still people in the top 24 who did not get aired. And so that episode we weren't 100% sure if it was going to happen because it was after the Oscars and so we just didn't know. So I just kind of assumed I wasn't getting aired, and I was like,
Mm,
well, that kind of sucks because
yeah.
then people don't get time to like marinate with you and grow with you and like you as a person and want to vote for you. And um so I was like, I don't know if my audition is gonna air. But it did. And I was I don't know. I have mixed feelings about my audition. I think I was happy that it aired. My audition was brutal vocally. It was like I don't think I've ever been as nervous as I was in that room. It's a very intimidating room, and my pitch like went out the window, which was okay. Like obviously like that happens, and I was really nervous and whatever, but I knew I was going to get like pretty brutally critiqued on that audition, and I knew I had a lot of eyes on me because I knew that the headlines were going to be like Chad Smith's daughter Ava Maybee, and so I was like, oh no, it's not going to be good, and like and whatever. So I got like pretty brutally critiqued on the internet because of my audition, and I was like, just wait, like I'm going to sing
Yeah.
Roxanne and like everything's going to be better, and like
Yes.
I really promise. And so yeah, I like get like a shock of anxiety when
Hmm.
I think about my audition, but
Personally, I felt your star power come through. I feel like even with the vocals, even with taking into consideration that we are all our own worst critics, right? So I think that, of course, you're going to read the things online, and everybody has an opinion, but I feel like you can tell when somebody walks into the room, and that must have been what the judges saw in you, and America saw that in you. So I feel like walking into that situation, as you said, you knew what you had to offer. You knew that there was more in store for you, and you've kind of been
right.
working up to this, as I said. I mean, you know your whole life you've been playing music. So I mean, overall, do you feel like you were prepared for American Idol when you walked into it?
I mean, I think yes and no. I think in terms of That's a good question. I think there's nothing that could really prepare you for that big of a production. Like
Uh-huh.
you feel, at least for me, like I felt so important being a part
Right.
of something that has been on TV for so long and is like, I feel like it's a staple in like American television is American Idol in terms of singing competitions. And there was always that sort of energy of like, you're a part of something really cool and really important. And but I didn't really realize that until Hawaii, when like fans would like fly out to like see people in Hawaii. And I guess I just didn't really understand the impact and the reach that Idol had. So that was really cool to see, but nothing could prepare you for like that. The audition room is brutal. Like I mean, everyone's so kind and so nice, and they want you to succeed, and you can like very much tell. But it's like you got no mic, you got no reverb. It's like a dead room, and like they're just staring at you. And I would rather perform for like 3 million people versus just three people.
Right.
So you hear everything, and it's definitely not like the most comfortable of rooms. Um, but they saw something in me, which I thought was really really cool, and I'm very grateful. I was like, I'm gonna do like much better next time, like
Right.
just think, and then that was
Right.
it.
Well, I think there really are two parts of the equation here when it comes to, preparing for entering something as a musician and entering something as being part of a reality television show. Like you said, you didn't know if this was ever in the cards for you. Is Idol really your thing? I mean, walking onto that set, as listeners of this podcast may know, there's so much that goes into just filming auditions alone before you get into the judge's room. There's day zero, you've got B-roll, you've got the moment like this from the 180 room, and then there's day one or day two, and then they bring in a new chunk of contestants. So like, you could be there all week. And so how did you feel walking into that? Did you want to be a part of all the other production stuff, or were you just thinking more about your music?
Wow, you really did research. Woo! Yeah, there was a lot. Yeah, there's a lot that goes into just your first audition. I think I was very lucky. I had my mom with me who always really like keeps me grounded, and because I get really anxious, and I think because of that I sort of for my audition, I sort of stuck to myself because I was just really nervous, but also it's weird that there's a lot of waiting. There's like hours of waiting, and then it's like go 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 go, and you do like a million things at once. And so I think that I really just had to practice patience, and I was lucky. I got to go pretty much on like the middle of the day, which isn't too bad. There were people that like didn't go until like 9 p.m. like, and we're up at like 5. So I was happy to sort of like get it over with. They're also always like switching people around, and you have a number, but it's not really your number. Like you never really know. So you just kind of have to stay flexible, and for me it was definitely about like managing my nerves, because it's a very nerve-wracking environment, all for you to sing for like 2 minutes,
For
and that's it.
sure.
That's your shot.
Yeah.
So
uh, Being in that kind of environment, I'm sure some people, getting overwhelmed, it might be easier to keep to yourself. Other people tend to cling to others. Whether it was the auditions or Hollywood Week, I'm wondering about some of the connections you may have made with people behind the scenes, contestants, whether they were people that we saw or possibly unaired contestants that you may remember.
yeah, I mean, my bestest friend on the show, Cameron, I didn't
Yeah.
meet until Hollywood Week. So because I think he auditioned in, I want to say Austin or something like that, and I did the LA audition. But there were a lot of, I mean, there were a lot of people that I met who were like in my like in the numbers close to me for when I went into the audition. Like there's this girl named Kendra who's really dope, and but quite honestly, for the people that I remembered, they got cut like first round of Hollywood Week, which was like heartbreaking, because it makes you think like, well, then like, what am I doing here? Like, because everyone here is a great singer. Like, there it needs to be more than just being a good singer, which is an insane concept, because there is not one bad singer. Everyone is good, but that's not enough. Which is, I think, a hard realization to come to when you're like sitting in a room in Hollywood Week and you're hearing everyone like do like the craziest runs of your life, and you're like, no, it's okay. Like it's more than that. Like you have to. American Idol is about like the soul, and like your personality has to shine through. It's not about just being the best singer, because even in this industry now, it's not being about the best singer. People have to like root for you and love you as a human, and love for you for what you stand for. And so I kept reminding myself that when I would be like, that person is like a way better singer than me, and I was like, but that's not what it's about. And but yeah.
Genre challenge was something that I would pay to be there in person and just watch all the performances. I mean, I doubt you can remember all of them, but just, I mean, it's like a free concert. The acoustics I've heard in the Orpheum are incredible.
Yeah.
And it really is entering that arena because you get through your audition, you go to Hollywood Week, and as you said, you meet Cam. I mean, you meet all these other people, and this is going to be your home for, I don't know if you assumed you would be here for a while or if you didn't know how long you thought you'd be in the competition, but you would be with these people for quite a long time, and this would become like your idol family. So, just entering that environment, did you feel like this makes sense? Like at the time I spent thinking, oh, is idol right for me? Were you like, yeah, this clicks, this is right?
Yeah, there's nothing. I think you definitely get a taste of it for the audition, of like how much that goes into just one performance. I think once I realized that, I was like, Hollywood Week is good. I mean, it's called Hell Week for a reason,
Yeah.
right? Like there's a lot that goes into it. It was also I wasn't allowed to bring a guest, so I didn't have my mom with me. So
Hmm.
that was also quite isolating at times, where I was like, you really have to like fend for yourself and make friends. And so I was very lucky to meet Cam, and then immediately we just clicked, because, and I mean this in the best way possible, and I've like told this to like American Idol producers, like, you do like trauma bond with people, because no one understands what you're going through except the people who are there with you. Like it's honestly quite hard to describe like the gravity of emotions you go through in like an hour is ridiculous. We're also all like artists and like emotional, and it's so intense, and but it's very mentally taxing. Like you're really nervous and you don't know if you're going to go through, and also there are people around you and their energy and you bounce off of that as well. So Cam was my absolute anchor. He was like, I got you. He was like, don't worry. And he had such a coolness and confidence to him that I really admired. And I was like, I need some of that because
Yeah.
I'm freaking out. Um, so he really reminded me throughout the whole show, but especially during Hollywood Week, that you can't take anything too seriously because at
Mm.
the end of the day, we're all here because we love to sing and we want to be artists and we want to like show the world who we are, and that's the point of the show. It's not like getting your head or strategy or anything like that because that just ruins the whole experience. So I'm grateful that I had him for sure.
Yeah. So important to have the positive energy because you never know when you're in the music industry what you're going to encounter and who you're going to encounter, and you need that person or those people who, regardless of all the noise, just are always consistently like, it's okay, I got
Yeah,
you, and I know that you're going to kill it. And you're also rooting for him, and again, so many other incredible musicians, and then even getting to meet Chris Pooley for the first time. I'm sure, again,
yeah,
it was just realizing that you are now a part of something that, for an artist like you who has been working her whole life on this dream, now you get
yeah.
the opportunity to like grow even more through the people that you meet.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think being on the, I mean, I live in LA, so going to the Orpheum Theater, I was like, I get to perform here. Like this
Right.
is so cool. It's just iconic in general. And you know, when you're practicing and like you have your genre song picked and whatever, and you've rehearsed it, but there's nothing that could really prepare you for it all happened so fast. Like you're sitting in the audience, you're enjoying these incredible musicians, like singing their hearts out, and you're like, oh my God, this is so great. Oh my God. And then all of a sudden you get like a tap on your shoulder and they're like, time to go. And then they like rush you to the back and you're like so overwhelmed and stimulated. And then they're just like, okay, they hand you the mic and then like walk on stage and you're like, oh, like right now? They're like, yeah, like right now. And I'm like, oh, okay. And you go onto this huge stage also full of three of some of the coolest people in the industry who are judging you, right? And then on top of that, you have an audience full of super talented musicians, like not your like average listener of the people who would even consume your music or go to your concert. Like these are kids who are like undeniably talented. So it's like it's the toughest room to
Yeah.
like sing in, but everyone in the audience was so supportive, and everyone, you want everyone to do well. Like that's what makes a great show, and that's what makes a great connections, great family, is like you want everyone to be successful and do really well. So I felt super supported. um and I'm glad I was the only, I think I was the only, I was the last person to go for pop. And I also sang a rock song and I put myself in the pop genre.
Hmm.
um so that was also very strange, but
What went
yeah.
into that decision to not stand in the rock line?
I don't make rock music. I knew that people would assume that I did because my dad's a rock musician, and I very I put in a lot of effort to make sure that he wasn't talked about, that it wasn't associated with me. And I love, like, I have there are rock elements to my voice, and I love singing Roxanne, and I did a more like soulful version of Roxanne. I was trying to like combine every genre possible because like I really hope to be genreless
Yeah.
in life. So I was like, I'll go in pop because pop isn't a genre. Pop is just popular music.
Right.
Um, and but like me and every other girl was like, there were so many people in pop. I mean, it's the biggest genre that you get. Um, and my duet partner, Ryan Argast, who you've talked to, who's absolutely incredible, and just I respect him so much as a musician. He was like the only person who made it through the rock genre. Like everyone got cut except him. So I knew that we were going to be paired together for sure. For
Oh
sure.
yeah. I think that
Yeah.
it's a perfect time for someone like you who wants to be genreless, because if you look at what pop music is like today in 2022, it's full of artists who don't need to say I sound like this or that. It's just so
Right.
interesting. I think, we've gone from, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm like kind of my era. Like I love like 2012 pop. Like like I kind of
Yes.
I still like to party out to like Nicki Minaj and Starships once in a while. Like it's just it's
Oh
fun, right?
yeah.
But also, we've gone from kind of having all the same producers to just like independent artists who are producing their own music and obviously TikTok. So, it's I'm sure it's so much more open to so many different artists who want to enter so many different lanes, create lanes of their own, and it doesn't really matter. I think that's also what's kind of interesting about the genre challenge is if you don't really want to be one genre, where do you kind of put yourself?
I think I think it was a very smart and strategic decision that I made to be in the pop genre. And that's what I would always tell anyone who like doesn't want to be put in a genre, just go pop, because it's not a genre. It's just popular music and you just sing what you want to sing. And I think also there's a lot of room for people to stand out in pop because there are also a lot of singers who sound very similar in pop. So that's why I felt like my choice was weird, but it wouldn't had I gone into the rock genre, people would be like, yeah, of course, she's singing a police song. Like, yeah, that makes sense. But for pop, it was like, whoa,
Yeah.
she's singing the police song, and
Yeah.
so I was glad I did that, and I recommend that if you don't want to be put into a genre because that also sucks. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to do that, but I get why you have to.
Yeah. I think I was so curious about the decision because from doing the show, I know that rock was such a small line. So it was like, you think about pop, there was multiple lines of pop. They're all being mentored by Jordan Sparks. And that's a whole nother thing is getting the alumni mentors. But, you could have been in a smaller line, but I think that story element's really interesting because obviously viewers know the story element of that with your dad and Red Hot Chili Peppers. So I think that having the ability to say I want to be my own artist is really important and speaks volumes to who you are. And I think that viewers connected with that. They like the idea that you can say, yeah, this is a part of me, but I can be Ava Maybee and it doesn't matter like where I come from, what my history is, right?
Yeah, I think I definitely that was my biggest concern going on the show. Because it's a show first, and I also respect that, and I told the producers day one, I was like, I had I think I was really lucky. I only had one audition for regular producers, and then the next day I had another one for the main producers, and then I was sent, and then I knew that I was going to audition for the judges. So it was a very short audition process for me. So I also didn't really. It was so quick that I didn't even really realize, and then I like 5 days later, I was like, wait, I'm like literally gonna be on American Idol. Like, hold on, whoa, hold on. Like, this is too much. But I called the producers and I told them I was very honest and I was like, I'm really excited for this opportunity and I'm really nervous, but I'm really stoked. But my dad's not going to be a part of this process at all. And not that I'm hiding him or like I love him. He's my dad, but I really wanted to take this opportunity to establish myself as an artist, as a singer, and just as me, because I knew that no matter what, whether we talked about it on the show or not, it was going to be in the press about who my dad was. Because I don't hide it on social media. I definitely don't promote it, but everywhere, you look my name up and like my profession is Chad Smith's daughter. Like, it's ridiculous. So they said that that was totally fine, and then that was my choice. And not that they didn't try and have him in other aspects, but they were really really kind and supportive about my choice to not have him be a part of it. Um, and so yeah, I think with me going into pop, that was also a decision to really establish myself away from the rock genre, but um it'll always be with me.
Yeah. I want to talk about duets for a minute because we didn't actually get to see that with
Yeah.
Ryan. And I
Yeah.
just got to shout out Ryan August if you're watching this. I mean, it was such a pleasure talking to
Love
you,
you,
and
Ryan.
you are incredible. And again, I mean, it is mind blowing, just as amazing as the cast of season 20 was that we got to see, the artists that you didn't get to see, and you got to meet Ryan among many others, I'm sure. I mean, what was that like being paired up with him, performing?
I mean, I had a blast. I felt I was really happy that he was one of the oldest in the competition, which I knew meant he was going to be a very hard worker, and that he was like, he was like just the best. It was the best case scenario to have him as a partner.
Yeah.
He because it's not like that's a brutal situation. We got paired up at like 10 p.m. and then we didn't get into the room to rehearse until like 1, and then a 15-minute rehearsal is not enough.
No.
And so then we went back to his room and rehearsed even more, and it was a song that like both of us knew but we didn't fully know the lyrics, and it was really brutal. And I was very I feel very lucky that he was my partner. It was the best case scenario for like pretty crappy circumstances.
Hmm.
And it wasn't that stressful. And I attribute that to him and his maturity and his professionalism. He's also been doing this for a very long time. And so that was also really cool. But yeah, I'm sad for his sake that the duet wasn't aired, because he absolutely killed it. Like, he slayed that performance. The judges' comments for him were like incredible, incredible, incredible. I thought I was getting cut because while I think I held my own, like, that song was a rock song and was made for his voice and made for him. And um that song was not made for me to sing. So I know I did fine, but I was totally assuming that I was gonna get cut. Um so they like went through this whole thing about how incredible Ryan is. And I'm just like, yes, like, yes, he is. Like, he's so good. And then they were like, and Ava. And I was like, hit me with it. I was like, I'm going home. Hit me with it. And they were like, it wasn't your best, but like, we absolutely love you and you're going through. And I was like, what? I was like, oh my Lord.
Uh,
And so that was that. So I wish for his sake that they would have aired it, but yeah, but they did not.
oh man. Well, you guys can definitely check out our interview with Ryan Argas as part of American Idol Unaired for more on his story. And back to your story, Ava. As we close out on Hollywood Week here, before we get to showstoppers, I'm curious. There's just so many performances. Are there any standouts that you remember from sitting in the audience, whether it be from genre challenge or duets?
Oh, yes, 100%. The one that I remember was Elliot Greer,
Mm-hmm.
and what is her name? I want to say they do like a bunch of shows together now. I'm gonna like
Lexi
absolutely
Weege.
yes, yes. They did like a cover of a Fleetwood Mac song for
Oh,
their
Dreams. Yeah.
yeah, for their duet, and I was very, very lucky to be in the front row and to just be like, like, I was fully in another world listening to them together. I think they are two of the strongest singers that were in this competition. I was shocked that they did not make it
Yeah.
further. Um, they're absolutely absolutely incredible. That performance was like everything for me. I was like, well, I'm going home, so this has been great. Yeah, they're incredible.
Just a little more shameless plugging here. I've got a chat up with Elliot and Lexi. So, guys, make sure to check those out. Elliot's actually the reason I started this podcast, discovered him on Instagram, and thought, hey, let's just do a show where we interview unaired contestants. Here we are today. And, just
That's
so
so
much.
cool.
Oh, thank you. So much
That's
incredible
really
talent. It really is mind blowing. But it's no matter if contestants are shown or not shown. I think you can speak for the fact that it's just about the experience. You get to meet other musicians, you get the platform, you get to meet the judges. I mean, so many parts of being on that show that you'll never forget, right?
absolutely.
I mean, it's a big deal to go from three people deciding what's going to happen to you to millions of people deciding. And just to get to that point, you have to go through Showstop around Green Mile. What are you feeling at that point?
Um, I didn't really know what to I didn't know what to feel. I honestly didn't think I would make it that far. So I didn't even have like an outfit. So like I had to go and like run and like buy an outfit with my mom, because I was like, so I keep like making it and this is like really insane. I kind of need to buy a new outfit. And she was like, okay. And so that was that. But I knew I wanted to sing Harry Styles, because I was also thinking of it in terms of like you have to perform like every performance is your last performance, whether you believe it or not. Like I truly believe that every performance I did was totally going to be my last. So I always wanted to pick risky songs because I would be really disappointed with myself had I played it safe or picked a song that I thought would do well, or like thought that that's what America wanted to see or what the judges wanted to see. Um, so yeah, I picked Falling by Harry Styles just because I love Harry Styles. I would want people to like associate me with Harry Styles. And I thought, and I just, I'm literally obsessed with him. So I picked that song. And it went super well. I got a standing ovation, which was really cool. There's like a meme on TikTok about it of Katy Perry being like, that was her best performance. She really pushed herself. And like, so that was very funny. And I was happy. Did I think that I did enough? I have no idea. I was just happy that I got a standing ovation. Um, and after that, I was like, I have no idea. I was just happy that we were done singing because we had been singing for so long. My voice was shot, and I thought I was done singing, and I was not because I had to do it the next day. But I thought that I was done singing, so I was just happy. I was like, I did it. I did my best. I didn't fully embarrass myself if they like are gonna air it, and that was that.
Mm. Speaking of memes on the internet, just want to take a brief moment to discuss a very funny TikTok you made at one point after the show. You judging a sandwich. Let's just talk about this. After you get off of American Idol, everything you do, you think about the judgment process, right?
Yeah, that was I think, I mean, in all seriousness, like it's a very strange adjustment process to go back to real life just because you're on um an insane schedule and everything is scheduled for you like to the minute. So I really just thought like, what could I do with my time while I'm just sort of like adjusting back to real life. So I just started making these like really dumb TikToks. And they're very niche. Like I don't really understand why they did so well because they're like, no one would really get them unless you're like a fan of the show or like on the show. But I thought that they were funny. I did them with my friend Alice, and we like did different wigs and like went all out with it. And it's true. I literally, my brain still to this day works like that at times. So
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah. No, my mom showed me. She was like, "You got to see this," and I'm like, "That was funny, mom." She showed me a lot of things, and sometimes I'm like, "This was funny."
Like this is all right. Yeah, I can
Yeah.
get behind this one.
Yeah. Yeah. As you said, so Green Mile next day. If I'm correct, you did a sing off right with Yoli when they were
I
deciding.
did. Yeah.
Um, what's that like? Because you guys are all there. You guys are at times. I'm sure it doesn't always feel like a competition because you love each other. You're singing off with
Right.
her. I don't know how well you knew her, but what was that like?
Yeah, I did not know her like at all. She had a lot of friends on the show. I pretty much stuck to myself and was just sort of friends with Cam. So not a lot of people like knew who I was or anything like that. But she was beloved by everyone at Idol. And so for me, I was like, oh no, like,
Oh,
oh no, this is terrible. And it's exactly what you said. Like you don't really think about it as the competition. One, because it's super overwhelming. It's hard to even like there wouldn't even be any time to like strategize or like, at least for me, I was just so overwhelmed that I was just like, I'm here to like sing my songs and like hopefully America loves me. And there's so much unknown. It's hard to like find any control in that at all. And so the day before we filmed interviews, B-roll, whatnot, whatever, on the same like on the lot that we were doing it for Green Mile the next day. And the producer was like, yeah, if you guys like have any like everyone just come and like write down what your genre song was. The producers just need it. Me, I didn't think anything into it. Like I did never thought that there would be like a sing off. They've never done that before. A sing off, nothing. I was just like, okay. Boy, was I wrong because the next day, it's freezing, freezing. I'm wearing a dress and my voice is completely and utterly shot because I'm like, I'm not being diligent and taking care of it because I didn't think I was singing. So my voice is shot, gone, like woke up, no voice. But again, was not worried because, oh, they're just gonna, we just get the decision and that's that. And then they call us up for the lineup and they call me and Yoli's name together. Um, and I knew then and there that it was probably going to be a sing off because we both had alto voices. She was in the soul genre, but we had similar voices, I guess. I don't know. I feel like we're very different, but we do have like alto soulful voices. So we both walked in and they uh they were like, okay, like you both have like similar voices, whatever, whatever. Who wants to sing first? And I just like immediately was like, I'll go first. Okay. Like I just wanted to get it over with because I had literally no idea what was going to come out of my mouth because I was like, my voice is gone anyways. Might as well just like get the embarrassment over and just sing. And then I sounded fine, which was great. And then she sang right after and she was incredible. They sent us out to make the decision. We come back and they they're going on and on and on about how incredible Yoli is and just highly complimenting her, which I fully agree with. I think she's incredible. And then all of a sudden they just kind of turn to me and they're like, you've made it into the top 24. And I like, it's not, I don't think they aired it, but I like look behind me because I thought that they were talking to someone else, which is like, I was like, what? Oh, okay. And then immediately after I was happy, I just felt incredibly guilty and very bad because this girl's dreams are getting crushed right next to me. And I'm not going to be out here and like celebrate because that's rude. And like someone's feelings are like really hurt. And anyways, so everyone was kind of thrown off because I wasn't like super happy about it. And I just felt really bad. And I didn't feel like it was the right move to be celebratory in that moment when like she was crying next to me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so they make you walk out and then announce it to everyone. And she told me on the way there, she was like, I want to announce it. And I was like, okay. And so, I mean, you see it on the show, like my face is like, I look kind of sad. Like I don't really look that happy to be in the top
And yet,
24.
yeah.
And I'm kind of like, yeah. And then she was like, whatever she said, like, I'm going home or whatever. And then Cameron, bless his soul, comes like darts all the way up and like attacks me with the
Yeah.
hug. And I'm like, not the moment, bro. Like, I love you, but like, so not the moment. And I just felt super guilty because it's in that moment where you kind of realize like this is a competition.
Yeah.
But it just felt, that was really tough. That was really brutal. It's really hard to have like the best news ever and get that next to someone who is so upset. I think it was Dan and Dakota were the only other people who had to do a sing off. So that was weird, but I'm happy that I made it, and
Yeah.
that was it.
Yeah. If I'm correct, Hawaii was filmed a couple weeks before the show even started airing, like auditions. So if that's the
Yeah.
case, then it's still this bubble where people don't really know who you are, but you still have
Mm-hmm.
the fans in the crowd that are getting a taste of this new cast of Idol hopefuls. And as you
Mm-hmm.
said, I think that that was kind of a moment for you, right? When you were on stage in Hawaii.
Yeah, I think so we were there for I think a week.
Right.
Um and we didn't have too much downtime, but when we did, I like to walk on the beach and we were watching like the stage get built in real time.
Yeah.
And it was massive stage and it was just so cool. And it was the first time that we were performing with in-ears, which for me, I'd never performed with in-ears before. So that was also, I was very nervous about that because it's a total change of sound. And but now they're like lifesavers and I like never want to perform without them ever. But yeah, I think when I was watching the stage being built and people were like lining up and were like really excited about Idol, and that was definitely a crazy experience. I never like having to have like security like escort you to the stage and stuff. I was like, why? Like, let's just
Right.
go. And
Yeah.
um, but it was really cool. I think you sort of understand the importance of the show and how many people really watch the show and love it, um and care about you as an artist and care about your story and like grow with you. And that was sort of like the start of it, for the realization like the show really matters and the show is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And still going strong, as you said, after 20 years, and the
Yeah.
impact it has, and the way viewers connect with the contestants. So you really knew that people were connecting with you when you got back to Hollywood on the set of CBS when they're announcing the results and you find out that you made it. I mean, what was going through your mind when they called your name for top 20?
um I had I had no idea that I would make it. I was very much not expecting to make it. You'll see that that's a theme here, that I'm just
Yes.
like really just happy to be there and had like no idea how I was still there. Not out of like a lack of confidence. Like I know I'm a good performer and this is like what I want to do for the rest of my life, but the whole show is so extravagant and just so incredible, and I was just in awe of the fact that this was my life, that I was really like, I made it through. Like, you're lying. Like, this is crazy. So I really, yeah, you see it on my face. I mean, I also have a terrible poker face. So they love to film my reactions to things because I'm always like, so yeah, I was absolutely in shock.
I remember one of your performances, Katy Perry said, people are talking about you. She was like, I was with an artist. I'm not going to say who, but we were at the pool and they were like, have you seen that girl, Ava Maybee? And then we're all wondering, ooh, who are you? Who's Katy Perry hanging out with? But you're probably thinking, oh, hell yeah, that's cool. I want to know who she's hanging out with and who thinks I'm cool.
I know who it is, but I can't say. But it was very, yeah, it was. Katy Perry's comments were everything on that show for me. I was like, absolutely. Katy Perry's like one of my favorite pop artists of all time.
Yeah.
She's a total badass. We had a lot of great conversations off camera as well. She really believed in me, which meant everything. Because it's easy sometimes to feel on that show like you don't belong.
Mm.
Um, and I struggled with that a lot. I really did, and she was so kind, and and any comment she gave me would like go viral on TikTok, which was very funny. And yeah, she's incredible, really incredible. All the judges are, but I think Katie really liked me, which was really cool. And she said like, I mean, some crazy things about, she was like, I was talking with my stylist and I said like I want all my outfits to be like Ava Maybee, and I was like, ah! I
Yeah.
was like, but you're like my fashion
Oh my
icon. Like, what
God.
do you mean? So it was just a big love affair. I love her. I'm obsessed with her.
Yeah, having someone that believes in you. I mean, I know it's corny, but it's like it's everything in this industry, right? Because you never know when you're all. I mean, it's wild. Like these judges that have been in the industry for decades. It's crazy because the fact that they're artists, they could essentially be competing with you guys. So it's like to still have that
Right.
support from them must mean a lot.
It's everything. And that's the thing. That's what's so beautiful about Idol, is that it's not a show where you're trying to make people look bad. Like you're making stars right in front of people's eyes, and what a blessing to provide a platform for us to have people grow with us and fall in love with our personalities and us as a human being, and then on top of that be like, and they're an incredible artist. I mean, it's just, you don't really get a lot of opportunities like that. I think it's really incredible.
No, and the whole thing with struggling, wondering if you belong on the show, it's like it's so hard because like I'm sitting here thinking like, oh, of course you belong. Like it's so easy to say that, but then I also want to understand and empathize because I feel like it must be such a how it's like it's confusing in a good way to like go from just being Ava maybe who doesn't have the whole world watching to now America's watching and following along on this journey, and there's people who know who you are and commenting on your performances and writing articles about you. And as much as you didn't always feel like a competition maybe with your competitors, it's like there are people like comparing online. And so I don't know, I feel like going through that, there must be a lot that you take away in terms of, well, at least you tried it out and you have Katy Perry saying that she believes in you, and you have the friends that you made, and you have the band encouraging you. So I think, you still walk away, I'm sure, with so much that's going to help you. Even if you continue to struggle, you can always remember the people that were there for you during that time.
Absolutely. I mean, I just did a show a couple weeks ago, and my performance like has changed so much in terms of stage presence and confidence, and I attribute that fully to American Idol. I think that's really what those are the most important things that you can take. Like, the platform is great, and it's cool to have people know who you are and recognize you and ask for pictures, and like that's wonderful and that's great. And especially because like I'm such a diehard fan of people in music, and I would do that. So when people do that for me, I'm like, ugh, I know exactly how you feel, and like that's so cool. And it always makes me really happy. But the most important thing that I feel like I took from the show was really like how to be a professional musician and be on a schedule and perform and do your best and rehearse and treat everyone with kindness and be gracious. And like, if this is what you want to do for the rest of your life, like Idol and how big of the production it is, it's like they're literally gearing you up for like a world tour. Like
Yeah.
it's the most professional environment I've ever been in, and I was really just proud of myself for getting as far as I did, and still coming out on the other side feeling like I really showed my true self. Like I wouldn't have changed a thing. I picked the songs I wanted to sing. I was allowed creative freedom on that show. I was allowed to be my weird wackadoo self, and I'm just very grateful that they allowed me to do that. When it is a reality show, and like, you need certain things for a show to be entertaining and whatnot. And I'm glad I was entertaining enough, because I never in a million years thought that I would be digestible for middle America, which is, the demographic of Idol. I never thought that anyone who would watch Idol would connect with me in any way. And based off of how far I made it, I feel like they did. And that makes me really, really happy.
Is there a performance that you were most proud of throughout your time on the show?
Yeah, I think I was most proud of when I sang Anyone by Demi Lovato.
Yeah.
That performance, I think no one really expected me to sing a ballad or sing something or a song as vulnerable and personal as that song. I tried to make it my own, and I was very happy with that performance. And it's not even about like that I thought I sounded good or my pitch was the best, but I felt most confident. That whole night was great. And also what was really special is my dad was in the audience, which was really cool. And um it made me really happy that, like in post they like showed my dad and my mom, and then the caption underneath was like Ava's parents, and I was
Yeah.
like, that's right. I was
Wow.
like, yes, like
Yeah.
it's and I thought that was really cool, and that was a really special moment for me. And it was really cool to have him see me doing what I love, and like being successful at it. And yeah, so that I think was my favorite. But yeah.
Any reflections on maybe, more challenging performances, or maybe your least favorite throughout the show?
Yeah. I'd go with I mean, we've already talked about my first audition. That is like I can't even watch it. It's really brutal. But I think I I both love and hate my Tell Me Something Good performance, because I'm really happy that I picked that song because it stuck out, and it was a very me song to choose. But that's also a really hard song to sing, and I didn't like sound my best. But then again, I don't regret it, because I think taking a risks is the way that you stand out on Idol. And yeah.
I know a lot of people were shocked when you went home. You know, a lot of people were shocked. So when you woke up the
Yeah.
next morning, I mean, I know it's an adjustment. So like, how do you go from set life on American Idol back to whatever you were doing before? And I know we talked about just being a student, and really, I mean, the music component may not have been too much different, but being a part of this new family, you're leaving that. So what was it like?
Um, the next day was very weird. I live very close to the studios, so I got to go. I just got to drive home, which was nice.
Hmm.
Um, but it was definitely very strange. The conflicting feelings of I was really proud of myself. I loved my performance that night. Um, I really couldn't believe that I had even made it that far because then like the week prior I like made America's top 10, which was like already ridiculous. So I and also um the judges' reactions of like Katy like had her jaw like on the floor like and like would not stop staring at me. So we were just like kind of awkwardly looking at each other as I like said bye. And she was like, it was just a very strange night of feeling like really happy and really proud of myself, but also bittersweet because you're like, wait, it's like over, like it's done.
Yeah.
Um and so yeah, it was definitely a strange night, but overall, I I loved like all the PAs that were working there. You spend so much time with them and like um I'm still friends with them to this day. And so, the family you create is one of the more important things that you can take from the show. And while I was disappointed, that wasn't like the main thing I was feeling. I was honestly just really proud of myself and really happy and quite honestly after it happened I went to bed. I was like I get to sleep. Like
Yeah.
I get to sleep in. Like this is so lit. Like this is
Yeah.
rad. And then I woke up the next day with like my Twitter like completely blowing up. And people were like starting like GoFundMe's to like get me back on the show and like stuff like that. And it was really sweet. It was really nice. And yeah, but weird night for sure.
I've never heard of a GoFundMe. I've heard of petitions, but to
Like
pay to
petitions,
get you.
petitions. No, 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 not to like make
Oh,
money off
okay.
of it.
No, no,
You're
no.
right. You're
Yeah.
right. You're right. You're right.
No, no, no. But
Can you
it's funny.
imagine? Like,
But
we'll
people are
raise
diehard
money and
fans.
pay you to put on the show.
I mean, people are diehard fans. You never know. You never know if these producers could be swayed.
Never know. You never know. But yeah, it was very crazy. I just did not expect people to be that upset.
Hmm.
I was like, I'm like still here. Like like I'm still here. But it was really cool because then I got to see like I made like real fans from the show and like real people who like really enjoy my music and that's everything. So I was happy.
I've got a follower at Ava Maybe fan. Gonna be really excited about this episode. They said they messaged me like a
Yeah.
they messaged me like a month ago. Can you get Ava Maybe on? And now I can finally say yes, I can at Ava Maybe
Yes, I
fan.
can, and I did.
Hope you're watching. Hope you enjoy. Is it easy? Do you think that having a lifestyle where it's just been music all your life, do you go back to just kind of like, all right, let's just keep writing, keep recording, or is there an emotional period of like, let me kind of settle from idle life to whatever I was doing before?
Yeah. So 2 days after I got kicked off of Idol, I flew to New York. And I surprised one of my best friends for her birthday because I told her I wasn't able to go because I was filming and whatever. So it was a nice distraction and also like put me into like back into my old life of like being a student and living in my apartment in New York and all of that. And I think that that was a really nice break, and also a very strange adjustment, just because I got recognized a lot in New York and I don't ever really get recognized. So that was also very strange. I was like walking in the park and I was like, hello. Because anytime anyone comes up to me, I think like I've done something or like I dropped something or like something like that. And they're like, can I take a picture? And I'm like, yeah, of course. And so that was also really cool and an adjustment for sure. So that was a nice break. And then after that, I went back to work. So I'm just in the studio and I'm writing, and I work at a record shop in LA. And so after Idol, I went back to my job,
Yeah.
and and that was it. Yeah.
You've been putting music out, mood swings, colors. I mean, what I want to say what's next. I mean, there's already so much. I mean, you've been performing. I'm sure you've been writing new stuff, but what do you want to tell us
Yeah.
about the rest of this year?
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. I have another show in LA, July 21st, with this really cool band called Quarters of Change. And I'm opening up for them at the Mint. So if you're in LA, be there. And then I go on tour in August. A super mini tour. I'm opening up for this band called Moon Tower and this guy called Fangs. And I'm going to be performing in August 11th through the 13th, New York, Philly, Virginia. And then after that, I'm just going to be a student. But then also, I have a new song coming out, and it's called Puke. And I've never told anyone that before. So this is a scoop for you. This is
Wow, I'm
the
honored. I've never
insider.
gotten an
Even
exclusive before.
maybe.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. So that'll come out in late August as well. And that's what I have coming up.
Are you excited to go back to school?
I am. I am actually. I think I feel like I'm living all these different lives, which I think is really cool, and like part of the human experience. So I'm really excited. And with COVID and stuff, I didn't really get like a full, I feel like, college
Oh yeah.
experience. So I'm excited to go back. It's my senior year, it's my last year, and I get the whole year. So I'm excited because then after that, it's like, it's go time, and I'm gonna go be on tour and make music, and that's it.
Cool. Ava Maybe, I'm pumped for you. I can't wait to see what the future
Thanks.
holds. I appreciate your time so much. I really do.
Of course, of course.
If people are not already following you or, listening to you wherever, where can people go to stream? Where can they go to follow? Take it away.
Yeah. It's Ava Maybe with two E's on Instagram and Spotify and Apple Music and Amazon Music and even Pandora
Oh my
or
God.
Tidal. If you want
Pandora.
Tidal, yeah, it's just whatever you want. If you want to buy it on iTunes, you could also do that if you're so inclined. And yeah, TikTok if maybe, and that's it.
Yeah, go back and watch the sandwich video. Go back and watch,
Yeah,
whatever
go
clips
find
you
that sandwich
posted.
video. It's premium content.
Oh,
So
yes.
good.
Yes. I mean, hey, I think about, I'm about to plug where people can listen to this show. And once you add up Pandora and Deezer and all those other things you wouldn't think people pay attention to,
Teaser, yeah, dude, for
they add
sure.
up. You look at the numbers, they add up. It makes a difference. You gotta
All
not just
those
Spotify and
point
Apple.
zero 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 nine cents, they add up. They
Hell
do.
yeah. Hell yeah. Speaking of which, guys, if you like this podcast, if you are on Deezer or Apple Podcasts, wherever you may be listening, if you haven't already, please subscribe. Please rate. Please leave a review. You can also watch these interviews on YouTube. Just type in American Idol Unaired. We've got tons of interviews with contestants that you did not see, and we also have aired exceptions like this episode. So, wherever you are, thank you very much for listening or watching. And Ava Maybe, thank you so much for being a part of American Idol Unaired.
Thank you for having me.